I thought if I could just find the right doctor or the right plan or start eating clean, that the weight would finally fall off. Unfortunately, it didn't happen that way. These 5 surprising lessons changed everything for me. And if you're in that nothing's working phase, I think they'll help you too. So the first one's kind of like when you see an influencer rave about a new skincare product. It's going to make you look younger, or your wrinkles will disappear, and you finally splurge and buy it. Yeah, it smells nice, maybe it feels good on your skin, but your wrinkles are still there. That was me with hormone replacement therapy. I had worked so hard to find someone to finally prescribe me hormones that I thought once I got on them, it was going to be that magic fix that I've been searching for. It wasn't. Yes, they did start to eventually help. But in the meantime, I was Googling constantly, how long does it take to see a difference? Estrogen and progesterone did help, but there were some other hormones that were also out of balance. Cortisol, your stress hormone, my hunger hormones, insulin, and even my thyroid. As I was patient, getting my body readjusted, my energy started to come back, my anxiety started to diminish, I was getting better sleep, but the scale still wasn't budging. And if that's you, just know that's normal. Progress was slow and not always visible. One day I was so frustrated stepping on the scale, seeing a number I still didn't like. But then I put on my jeans and it did feel like it felt a little looser. It was just enough to help me keep going. The end goal really wasn't that number on the scale. It really was feeling more like myself again, getting that energy back, having my moods more under control, helping me think clearer. But I knew I still had work to do on my eating habits. I truly believe hormone replacement therapy is crucial for long-term health. So the first big surprise was hormone replacement therapy was not a pass to go back to my old habits. As my hormones were starting to get balanced, I realized my body was still talking to me. Some of the signs and symptoms that I thought were just aging or my hormones were actually symptoms of chronic inflammation. And chronic inflammation comes from poor gut health. If I wanted better gut health, I knew I had to figure out what foods actually made me feel good and which ones didn't. And once I figured that out and I removed those triggers, my headaches started to disappear. I started to have more energy, and I didn't have the bloating after meals that I thought was just normal. I'm not pretending that it was easy at first. I had to come to terms with I couldn't eat the standard American diet like everyone else and feel the way I wanted to. Yes, I felt left out at first, skipping dessert, appetizers, and those fun cocktails. But as my gut health improved and all my symptoms started to get better, that fear of missing out on those foods slowly disappeared. It became more important to me that I didn't want to miss out on feeling good. I didn't want this to be a temporary phase where I go back to my old habits. I wanted to learn the lessons of the foods that supported my gut health and made me feel good and stick with that. So the big surprise was gut health was a huge turning point. My health improved a lot when I focused on better gut health and lowering inflammation. And if you're wondering how to get started on that, download my free Gut Health and Inflammation Guide below. After I changed my diet to a more anti-inflammatory one, I was eating clean, smoothies, salads, gluten-free healthy snacks. But I still had cravings and energy crashes, and I still had some of that menopause belly fat. Turns out there was another layer I needed to add on. And this one came as a surprise to me because I always thought that only diabetics should care about blood sugar. But then I realized that managing your blood sugar and lowering your insulin resistance is huge for menopause weight loss. So I started adjusting my eating habits to manage that blood sugar and start to tackle that insulin resistance. This is exactly what I teach my clients in my Thrive Method coaching plan. First off, prioritize protein and fiber. And especially at breakfast, I wanted to make sure it was more protein-based than the standard American diet of carbohydrates. I started lowering those processed carbs and really only enjoying nature's carbs, like a good sweet potato, fresh fruit. I spaced out my meals better because when I had enough protein and fiber at each meal, I could go longer between meals. I stopped grazing all day. I went for a walk after my biggest meal. And yes, I had to cut way back on sugar. I know it's not what you want to hear, but it's the truth. Sugar is the enemy of menopause fat loss and long-term health. I had to stop pretending a little here and a little there didn't matter. Once I cleaned that up, I noticed my cravings got quieter, my energy was more stable, and the scale started to move. I didn't do these habits all at once, I just slowly layered them in. So the big surprise was managing blood sugar was the missing link to fat loss. I had to learn another lesson. That number on the scale didn't tell the full story. We've all probably been on our fair share of diets and realize that there's a healthy way and an unhealthy way to lose weight. It can be so tempting to get sucked into those promises of the before and after in a matter of weeks. But that's not really sustainable. I know when I was on some of these diets, I didn't care how I was losing. I just wanted the scale to move. But the truth is, a lot of times you're losing muscle, not fat. This really hit home when I got a DEXA scan at the gym. It shows you your percentage fat, it shows you how much muscle and lean body mass you have. It was a big wake-up call. I had to shift my thinking from quick weight loss to one that protected my muscle. That meant really prioritizing protein, getting strength training in, and active recovery. I've seen family members in the past brag about getting to a weight even though they were getting frailer and weaker. I've decided I want strong, not skinny. And the cool thing is I've been this weight before, but I've never been this strong. So I look different now than I did when I was at this weight before. Muscle protects my bones, it boosts my metabolism, and helps me stay active long term. So my big surprise was weight loss does not always equal fat loss. You have to make sure you're preserving your muscle because muscle is a badge of honor as we age. Now this next lesson was probably the most important. I finally was able to stop chasing a certain number on the scale and I started building a lifestyle I could stick to. I used to think once I hit that goal weight, I'm gonna be happy and I'm gonna be done. But the truth is, your health is either improving or it's slipping. There's no staying the same. You've got to continue to improve your healthy habits. Yes, your genes matter, but your lifestyle a lot of times matters more. I wanted to feel good. I wanted to stay active as I aged. I wanted to do everything within my power to ward off some of those chronic diseases that have plagued my family in the past. James Clear of Atomic Habits says that the best way to lock in habits is tie them to your identity. I had to stop identifying as a dieter. The biggest win wasn't weight loss. It was how I became a person who makes healthy choices easily. If you're in the middle of this or it feels like it's taking forever, just remember your body isn't broken. It's just asking for a different level of support. Once I figured this out, I lost 30 pounds in menopause, and I'm sharing my 5 non-negotiables in this video here. Whatever you do, stop waiting for it to be easy. Just start. You're worth it.